Welcome to the latest special edition of Jaws on Sports. I'm Mike. Zach is now with us tonight. He's on assignment on some exotic Caribbean island, but he did say that he'll return tomorrow, and we look to give our final thoughts on the basketball tournament, look ahead to UFC 287 this weekend, and maybe talk a little bit about the Masters Golf Tournament, which fires up on Thursday. But tonight, this is a Wrestlemania recap special edition. I know that the fans have been waiting for this. Lots going on in the WWE, not just this weekend, but in the last 24 hours. We're going to get to it all, and I'm ready to roll. I'm fired up, folks. It's great stuff. So, night one, WrestleMania, show kicked off with my least favorite and your least favorite wrestler, one John Cena versus the United States champion, Austin Theory. Now, while Theory did win the match, he didn't exactly have an incredible performance out there. And they had the old dusty finish where Big Match John had him wrapped up in the submission, his STU, and he was tapping out, but the referee was out. Referee was knocked out, so he didn't see it. Then, some nefarious stuff happened, a little low blow action. Hey, whatever it takes to win sometimes. And Theory took the win. The crowd kind of took a dump on him. I don't know how this will affect things going forward with Austin Theory. The dude's only 25. He's, for lack of a better term, the total package when it comes to a WWE superstar. And he did get a WrestleMania victory over the one and only John Cena. How history will see that, I have no idea. As far as Cena is concerned, he goes back to whatever show is next. I know he's in the new Fast 10 movie and who knows what else. I even saw something today I hope was total BS, but he's going to be in the Barbie movie with the great Ryan Gosling and the great Margot Robbie. Who knows? We'll see. Or maybe not, because you can't see him. Ha, ha, ha. But anyway, just to finish that one off, Theory got the win. Just the fans didn't particularly care. I don't think they're really sold on him for the most part. And we'll just have to see. When you take a wrestler, babyface wrestler, and try to shove them down the fans' throat, 9 times out of 10, they're going to take a huge dump on it. And in Austin Theory's case, he's mostly dumped on. So we'll see what happens. You got to play the long game with this stuff. But Austin Theory did pick up a win. If nothing else, he's got a win over John Cena at WrestleMania. Now, getting into the really good stuff, boy, there were some really awesome matches on night one at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California. We're going to skip over a couple of them here and talk about Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Say what you want about Logan Paul. He's got like 20 million social media followers, and I've got, I don't know, at least 50 million subscribers to this right here, minus 49 million and change. And that's okay. But the guy has only had 5 matches in the WWE, and he's done a hell of a job during that time. Obviously, you've got the veteran Seth Rollins, who's incredible out there. It'd make me look great in a match. And I'm just glad that this one turned out like it did. Both men had their moments, some big moves out there. That what's that Prime Energy drink crap? One of Logan Paul's buddies, he got smashed in the table. I knew something nefarious was going down when I saw the Prime Energy drink guy out there in costume. Something was up. I have expected it to be Logan Paul's brother Jake, but it was KSI, and I don't know who the hell KSI is. I guess he's another YouTuber and celebrity boxer. He must not be that big of a celebrity because like I said, I didn't know who the hell he was. But he got knocked out by his own buddy on a frog splash to the outside of the ring onto the announcer's table. It went wrong. Hey, you got to watch out for that Spanish announce table. It has a tendency to get destroyed multiple times, and it did again. So Rollins gets the victory. It was a fun event for everybody involved. Rollins had a hell of a costume again. The dude is magic out there. I think it's about time that he deserves another main event push, but we'll just see how that goes. Then you had the SmackDown Women's Championship with Rhea Ripley versus the champion Charlotte. Hands down, best match of the weekend, arguably a match of the year candidate in any promotion. This was just fabulous. The ladies laid it all out there on the line. Rhea got the win clean there at the end. Just brutal, tough, great job. Just I was watching that and I just couldn't believe my eyes. They hit all their moves. There was technical wrestling. There's a lot of high flying, a lot of power moves that only they are capable of doing. Just amazing stuff. And we have a new champion in Rhea Ripley. Now, this is interesting going forward with her because as part of the Judgment Day faction, there was an awful lot going on. You also had Finn Balor out there. I'll talk about that later. On night 2 as the Demon, Dominic Mysterio versus his father. Damian Priest causing problems with Bad Bunny. My goodness, that's horrible. So that is a faction, but all of them were doing their own thing for the most part. And make no mistake about it, in this match, Rhea was the babyface. Charlotte came into the match as the babyface, but the crowd didn't see it like that. So the crowd dictates everything in professional wrestling, always has. So what's going to happen from here? Rhea has been this kick-ass heel in the Judgment Day for going on a year now. She's brought Dominic Mysterio along from total garbage to at least being somebody that you want to pay to see get beat up. But now she's a champ and she's getting cheered out there. So is she a babyface? Is she too big for the Judgment Day? Those questions and more will be hopefully figured out as we go along. Charlotte, 14-time champ. Probably by this time next year, she'll be a 15-time champ. She earns all her accolades. She's greatest ever women's wrestler, in my opinion. She'll be back. I would have expect her to take some time off. She recently got married to Andrade. We'll see. Who knows? So congratulations to the new SmackDown champion, Rhea Ripley. Moving on, there's a couple more matches here I want to talk about. Night 1, you had Rey Mysterio versus his son Dominic. A lot going on there. I kind of figured that what I would have liked to have seen, I think, as far as long-term storytelling, that's what this is all about, is with Rey beating his son up, bam, bam, but Dominic kind of getting some kind of silly win at the end, and then they hugged it out, father and son, all was well with the world. That didn't happen, and I honestly don't think this feud is over. Rey got the win. I'm glad he did, but Dominic was still a punk out there. You just want to see him get punched out. Now, the best part of this match, I think, was when Snoop Dogg drove the lowrider out there with Rey at the beginning. That was pretty darn cool. And Dominic came in with a police escort and handcuffs because of his one-night stay in jail for trying to break into the Mysterio household on Thanksgiving. I got no words. I do not think Dominic Mysterio has a long time history here coming as a great heel character. I don't think he has a chance. Maybe he can prove me wrong. Dude's only 24, 25 years old, so he's got time. But for now, brand new Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio, he gets a win. Well deserved. The dude's incredible. 48 years old, still jumping around like he does, doing things that he just makes up something new on the spot every time. So the main event of night 1 was just how it should be. Didn't know how it was going to work out, but this worked out great. You had the Usos, the WWE Tag Team Champions, versus the longtime frenemies in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now, Bloodline story, We all saw how that went. Sammy for months and months and months trying to get in good with Roman Reigns and the rest of the bloodline. They kept pushing him away. His charisma, his work in the ring, all that finally endeared him to Roman Reigns, who brought him along, made him an honorary Uso, which is really cool. But Sammy just didn't see what was really going on. Reigns was using him for his benefit, and there was never going to be a happy ending with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. Just wasn't going to happen. Now, I do think it's going to continue. There's still juice to be squeezed out of that. But this match was brutal, and for the most part, the Usos controlled. There were several also kind of uncomfortable times with kicks in the corner, super kick, double super kick, as the Usos are so good at doing with Sami Zayn. It just looks like the dude wouldn't be able to stand up. But he finally, at the end, there were some stunners involved with KO. Sammy nailed his Haluva kick on Jey Uso 3 different times, and that's how it needed to end. He got the win. Crowd went nuts. A crowd of 80,000 or whatever went crazy. I might have had a single solitary tear come down. I don't know. I don't know what those are really, but there was some kind of waterworks. Maybe I was sweating. I'm not sure. But it was a great main event, great way to end night one. Everybody was happy. I know that people were just kind of like totally jacked up about that. It was awesome. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are the new WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, they've got both sets of titles. What's going to happen with that going forward? No clue. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. So that was the end of night one. Night one overall, I think the best match was definitely Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. I give night one a solid B+, and just by itself, I think that it was a top 7 or 8 WrestleMania of all time. My opinion. Hey, what can you say? So tonight, let's see. I've got the great corporate mankind here with Mr. Sacco, and I've got my awesome "Is Still Real to Me, Damn It" t-shirt that my sister sent me for my birthday last year. I've been a fan of this stuff for my whole life. I try to look at it from is it entertaining or not perspective. So for those of you out there that are like giving me the side eye and say he's totally full of shit because he's a pro wrestling fan, well, hey, when you're watching Game of Thrones or Days of Our Lives or what's some other show with wizards and stuff or whatever. I mean, hey, I don't criticize you. It's entertainment. It's all it is. So this is just a better form of entertainment. Okay. So anyway, night number 2, Sunday night, they had an announced crowd of 80,000 and change. So between the 2 nights, you had over 160,000 people at SoFi Stadium for WrestleMania. The crowd was rocking both nights. The pacing was very well. I love the 2-night WrestleMania versus the 1 day, 8-hour thing that they had, which is exhausting for the fans in the stadium and the fans at home. This was fun. They had some good stuff in between. They had some great scenes with WrestleMania host The Miz and the one and only Snoop Dogg. And Snoop actually got to punch Miz out in the middle of the second night. Well, that was pretty cool. I did feel just a little tiny bit sorry for our returning hero, one Shane McMahon, who, like his dad, many years back at the Royal Rumble, busted a quad at when he was going to the ring. Shane tried to leapfrog, came down wrong, didn't work. Bam, he was done. So Snoop and Miz improvised, and Snoop definitely got the better of that one with 2 right hands, knocking the Miz down, and then dropping the most freaking spectacular people's elbow outside of anybody named The Rock, and he got the win. So Snoop Dogg, WWE Hall of Famer, is now a WrestleMania winner, and dude's got a really cool title belt. And here's some gin and juice toast to the one and only Snoop. That tastes like water. What kind of crap's that? Anyway, so night two started with the big guys. You had Brock Lesnar, you had the giant Omos. For those of you who aren't sure about Omos, Omos is a 7'3" former basketball player from Nigeria. The dude he's a legit, probably 370, 400 pounds. He's rock solid. Now, the guy is young. By all accounts that you hear, he's just a really nice guy. He works hard, but it's got to be extremely challenging to try to be a professional wrestler being that big these days. Now, if you could have taken him back in the heyday of Andre the Giant, or even Paul White, the Big Show, the early Big Show days, he would have had a hard time with them, but they would have been able to help him along. These days, your wrestlers do so much stuff, and even the big guys of previous years, like Kane and the Undertaker in particular, very athletic, could do incredible stuff in the ring. But Omos, he's a legit 7'3". So I, like many fans out there, I was skeptical how this one was going to go. You had Brock Lesnar on one side, who tends to seek and destroy. He is probably the best it's ever been at doing that. And Omos, to be honest, he's pretty green out there. As it was a pretty good Haas fight and a great way to start the show. Omos overpowered Brock a few times. Brock was able to get his F5 there at the end and get the victory in about 4 minutes, which is exactly what was needed. This obviously doesn't hurt Brock at all. There were rumors that maybe his contract was up after that. We'll talk more about that in a minute. It helps Omos because he was out there and he showed that he could hang with Brock Lesnar. So going forward, we'll see what can happen. As it is, the only guy in WWE who can match size and strength with him is probably Braun Strowman. They really haven't done anything yet. Don't know what they're waiting for. There's a couple other real big guys who are strong. Obviously, you got our hero Otis, and the new guy came up from NXT not too long ago. Bronson Reed is a powerhouse, but the thing is, Omos is about 2 feet taller than both of those guys. They're not very tall. So we'll see what happens, but good for Omos, good showing out there. Brock Lesnar got his 4 minutes, and probably 30 minutes later was on the plane back to his ranch in Saskatchewan. Okay. The killer, awesome match of night two was for the Intercontinental Champion, Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. These guys beat the shnikes out of each other. It was awesome as a fan. Those knife edge chops. Sheamus is pale like me, and his chest was all bruised and battered. He had blood all over the place, and they're beating each other up, and it was just awesome. In the end, the right thing happened. Gunther got the win. He has elevated the Intercontinental title to a place that hasn't been in at least a decade, if not longer. And this has been a nice, almost year-long reign for him. Now, my sentimental pick in this match was Sheamus, because he hasn't won the Intercontinental Championship, which is crazy to think about. That's the only thing from keeping him from being a Grand Slam champion. Hopefully his time will come for that. Drew McIntyre was incredible as always. I would like to see him back in the main event scene here, but not sure how that's going to work with the stuff with Cody and Roman and all that we'll talk about in a minute. Great match for the Intercontinental title. This was my highest rated match of the night. It was fun, had everything you needed. Just classic storytelling. So you had the Raw Women's Championship with champ Bianca Belair versus Asuka. I did think that this one would change, but it didn't happen. Bianca won. That's okay. Bianca is incredible, and she's undefeated at WrestleMania. It's only been 3 times, but she is undefeated, and she can do just great things going forward. I do think that her and Rhea Ripley need to have a match sometime down the road, being Raw and SmackDown champions. I don't necessarily think you need to make it for both titles, but would love to see those two in the ring again. We've always got Survivor Series, or hey, WrestleMania next year. Don't be surprised if both those ladies, Rhea has a long title reign, Bianca continues hers. They are worthy, and it's great to see them out there doing their thing. This was a really good match. Could have gone either way with Bianca and Asuka. Ultimately, Bianca was able to get the win with the KOD. Asuka looked great in defeat. I wouldn't be surprised if they ran this one back pretty soon. We'll see. So then you had a very interesting match with the Brood Edge versus the Demon Finn Balor at Hell in the Cell. So the entrances were awesome. It's great to see the old 20-year-old Edge character of the Brood come back. And of course, it's always just great to see Finn Balor bring the demon persona. Now, the demon persona used to be unbeatable, and that aura has kind of faded here a little bit. The last time he was out there, he lost. I believe that was against Roman Reigns. Some of our viewers could fact check that one. Then he came out last night, and I thought for sure that Finn was going to win. At this point in his career, I love Edge. Edge was my favorite guy in the late stages of the Attitude Era, and always been a big fan of his. I loved it when he came back, but he isn't a full-time guy. This match should have gone to the Demon Finn Balor, if nothing else, to make that demon persona just that much more invincible or, harder to beat. Didn't happen. There were a couple crazy spots in this match. One in particular was when Edge threw the chair. Well, it wasn't the chair. No. The ladder. He threw the ladder at Finn. And I guess Finn didn't get his hands up in time to catch it like he's supposed to, because it, bam, busted him right in the head. He had like a 3-inch gash there. Now, of course, he had all his face paint on and everything. And I was looking real close. I never really saw the aftermath of that, but they called timeout in the match. You could see the cage door was raised up a little bit. They brought the doctor in there. I read that they stapled it, and they gave Finn some kind of a pain injection or something just on the spot. Very nice of them, crazy. But Edge ultimately won the match with his concerto. And boy, you have to have serious trust to have somebody slam a chair down right above your head and not hit your head. So Edge won the match at Hell in the Cell. As much as I like Edge, I didn't particularly care much for the result, but it's what happened. And, we move forward. I do think this feud needs to end. Both these guys need to do something else. And I honestly don't particularly care if the Judgment Day gets back together or not. So we'll see how that goes. It's definitely long-term storytelling. And yeah, I'm about 2/3 of the way through here, and I was just thinking I could really, really use something from Dairy Queen right now. Now, the nearest Dairy Queen is about 15 minutes away, so I'm not going to go to Dairy Queen. But wouldn't that be cool right now to have an Orange Julius or like a peanut butter parfait or one of the blizzards with either M&Ms or Reese's Pieces or Reese's Cups? That'd be freaking awesome. Might have to go check that out tomorrow. Don't know why I was thinking about ice cream. You never go wrong with ice cream, ever. Okay. So with ice cream on my mind, we get to the main event of night 2, which was Cody Rhodes versus the undisputed Universal Champion Roman freaking Reigns, who has had a 940-something day title reign going into this match. Now, all indicators going up a couple weeks were that Cody was probably going to win. I said it on here last week. I was about 70% certain he was going to win. When we got to the day before the match, remember I texted my buddy TJ and told him, you know, I think that the talk is probably about Roman getting close to that elusive 1,000-day title reign. Hasn't happened since the glory days of Hulk Hogan. I know that's a factor. It's got to be. So I'm still taking Cody, but I'm 51-49. And, you know, like I was talking last week, do not ever bet a penny on pro wrestling. That's freaking insane. This stuff is predetermined. They know who's going to win, who's going to lose, or whatever. Don't bet on that crap. That's stupid. But if I was going to bet your money, you know, your $5 on it, I would have put it on Cody Rhodes to win. So these guys had a hell of a match. And I mean, the Gunther Sheamus Drew McIntyre match was my favorite of the night, but Cody and Roman Reigns was probably the best match. It could have gone either way. There was some nefarious stuff with Solo Sikoa that made the difference in the end, as Cody was about to deliver the crossroads again and almost certainly get the victory. Didn't happen. Roman won. Roman is in that rarefied air where when he's out there anytime against anyone at any place, that he is the favorite to win. The last guy that had that was Brock Lesnar. The one before that, of course, John Cena. Roman is at that point, he is by far the biggest star in professional wrestling right now. So he won. I don't have a problem with him winning. You know, Solo go hit him with that thumb spike, hit Cody, took Cody out, get the win. It could have been a little bit better. I think the crowd would have been much happier if Cody had won. But let's play this out longer. This could be, you know, going back a decade plus here, you had the Rock and John Cena's story. This one has enough legs to potentially be like that. They met at WrestleMania 2 years in a row, and Rock won the first one, Cena won the next one. It's kind of a passing of the torch. I don't know if Cody is the guy who's ultimately going to be the full-time torchbearer, if you will. I lean more towards Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, but hey, I wasn't part of the new $21 billion merger between UFC parent company Endeavor and WWE, so they don't listen to anything I say. They should. Damn it. But Reigns got the win. Okay with that. Long-term storyline. What can you do? I mean, you've got SummerSlam in a few months. You could run it back there. You got the Survivor Series. You got Royal Rumble, and you got WrestleMania next year. I could see this being a few matches, you know, spread way out with all kinds of stuff going on in between. And I'll talk about that when we get to Raw here in a minute. But overall, it was a very good two-night WrestleMania. I think of let's see, we had 2001, 2, 3. So this is the third two-night show. This is by far the best one. And 10 years from now, when we're talking about this over a Guinness and some really good pizza, preferably someplace that has a beach or something like that, I believe that this will be a top 5 or 6 WrestleMania of all time. It's never, I don't think we're ever going to touch the rarefied era of WrestleMania 17, but this one was pretty darn good. I think they missed out on a couple things. Like in particular, one of the guys that everybody loves is Big E, and he had that horrible neck injury over a year ago, and he hasn't been back. You see him in commercials, you see him on social media. Just it'd been cool if he could gone out there and just riled up the crowd for 30 seconds. That would have been an awesome WrestleMania moment. Let's see, Snoop was awesome out there. You had Bad Bunny, who he uh, he got involved. He got involved and um, he took that chain away. He kind of paid for it the next night on Monday Night Raw, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So you had some good celebrity involvement, and I did like that they gave Bobby Lashley a little time. Being the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner, they gave him a little time, little props there. But I don't know what happened with Bray Wyatt. They were supposed to have a match out there. Obviously, Bray, he's out for some reason. You could have had Bobby do something. He could have come out there, beat up the Miz. One of the other wrestlers who was really hot coming in was LA Knight. He's got a lot of heat on him. They could have had a quick match with those two. Would have been nice. I don't expect Bobby Lashley to be out of the main event scene very long. He needs to be right back in there. The dude is phenomenal. So overall, great event. Top 5 or 6 WrestleMania. Went to sleep happy as a clam. It's fun. Great show. So anyway, what happens after that? Well, hours after WrestleMania, the Endeavor Corporation, who owns the Ultimate Fighting Championship, they merged with UFC or with WWE. So this is with the market valuation, this is like a 21 billion with a B dollar merger with Endeavor holding 51%, WWE 49%, Vince McMahon as the CEO of WWE. Okay. So that officially happened between the end of WrestleMania Night 2 and the beginning of WrestleMania after Raw, which is always the wildest one of the year. And as a fan, excuse me, as a fan, we had expectations. Some more gin and juice. Thank you, Snoop. Those expectations went totally down the shitter last night. I tell you, it was bad. I been watching this stuff since I was a toddler. I'm not sure what that says of me, but been watching Monday Night Raw since the beginning. This was the worst one I ever remember seeing in my life. Some of the reputable, and I use that term loosely, reputable pro wrestling gurus out there like Dave Meltzer called this the worst Monday Night Raw ever. And it was pretty damn bad. It's a shame. So what happened? You had this great WrestleMania, and what do you do? A couple new guys come out there. Maybe Randy Orton returns. There's some others, Lacey Evans, some of the people from NXT, Braun Breaker in particular, who's Rick Steiner's son, has been NXT champion, just has all kinds of potential. A lot of things could have happened. And what did happen was Triple H came out there to a huge ovation. He gave his standard "thank you very much," to the crowd, all the people in the back, the production people, and he talked Triple H stuff. He's really good at that. He mentioned a little bit about this new merger, and he said that WWE was going to be around. We're not going anywhere. Crowd went nuts. They introduced Roman Reigns. That's fine. Roman's the champ. He came out there with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. Cocky self, lots of boos. Not as many as WrestleMania 33 a few years back when he beat The Undertaker, when we thought The Undertaker was going to retire. The Raw after that, man, I don't ever remember hearing boos for 10 minutes. But last night, Roman got plenty of boos, and he didn't seem to care. Cody came out to a lot of cheers, and these guys, they kind of looked at each other for 10 minutes, said a few things, and ultimately Cody's request for a match that night was denied, but they did settle on a tag team match, which I thought at the time was kind of weird. It's like, what the hell are they doing this for? It doesn't make any sense. But for 5 seconds, I was excited. Okay, well, hey, who can Cody's partner be? If it's Reigns and Sikoa versus Cody and whoever, man, this could be cool. You know, it could be Bobby Lashley. It could be Drew McIntyre. It could be Randy Orton, which I thought would be awesome considering Randy Orton. He's a second generation guy. Cody's a second generation guy. And of course, you got the Anoa'i family on the other side. But no, Brock Lesnar came out. So, you know, this was in Los Angeles. I expected Brock Lesnar to be back on his ranch in Saskatchewan, hours and hours before, disappeared from the world. Maybe he'd resurface on a WWE programming in 6 months. Nah, didn't happen. He showed up the next night. Okay, all right. Cowboy Brock is cool. I know he's not going to be fighting Roman for the championship, so is he going to be Cody's partner? What? That's kind of weird, but hey. So Brock is in the ring. He's high-fiving, hugging Cody, and I'm kind of jacked about this. And they announced that would be the main event tag team match. So, okay, cool. All right. So, you kind of press on to the show. Miz was out there again, causing trouble. And Matt Riddle, who had been gone for about 6 months, he returned and he beat up Miz. For those of you keeping track at home, okay, Miz got beat up by Pat McAfee, Snoop Dogg, and Matt Riddle over the course of the weekend. Now, nobody can take a beating like Miz. I'm a big Miz fan, but the poor guy needs a win sometime. They need to have him up against some tomato can out there and to let him get a win. That'd be pretty cool. He deserves it for all the times he's got his ass kicked. So the thing is, the Raw after WrestleMania, we were expecting returns. The only one they had was Riddle. And I was reading some stuff today, like Seth Rollins, his segment got cut. He came out this crazy outfit, kind of looked like Cruella DeVille out there, but hey, the dude can pull it off. He's awesome. And it just, the crowd was humming his theme music. He was conducting them along. He got to the ring. He didn't say anything. And that was it. He walked away. I'm like, what's going on here? You had Omos come out like a badass he is, had a good performance against Brock Lesnar. What'd they do? They brought Elias. Hey, a few years ago, Elias was awesome. WWE, walk with Elias. I've got an original Elias hoodie in the closet right over there. Heck, I was wearing it this weekend. But he came out there, no guitar, got the ring, almost beat him down, pinned him in 2 minutes. Okay, why? You buried another guy. Okay. So camera was in the back. They're talking to Bobby Lashley about how he felt about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal win. But, she asked how hard was it to be out there on the stage at WrestleMania but not have a match. And yeah, he didn't like it. And then Mustafa Ali came out. Now, this guy, he is a great talent out there, and he just nonstop motor, can do same stuff that a guy like Rey Mysterio was doing 15 years ago. And, with his background, his heritage, he could be a gold mine in the right place. But what'd they do? Well, Ali was trying to kind of give Bobby Lashley happy thoughts, and Bobby Lashley proceeded to beat him up. And that was only half of it. He dragged his ass all the way to the ring, beat him up in the ring, dropped the Hurt Lock full Nelson on him, and 30 seconds later, another guy was buried. Oh, for my fans out there who aren't sure what I mean by buried, I'm not talking like he's 6 feet under buried. It's just that in pro wrestling vernacular, if you get buried, that means that whatever credibility you had just got flushed down the Steiner. So that was 2 guys last night, Ali and, of course, Elias, which kind of sucks. So you had Rhea Ripley come out interrupting Bianca Belair's championship celebration that she had. And they just kind of stared at each other. One's a Raw champion, the other was a SmackDown champion. And they kind of teased having a match in the future. And that was it. That was the end. I'm like, what's the deal with all these half kind of, unfinished things here? This is silly. What's going on? There was no Bailey. There was no Becky Lynch. Now, keep in mind, SmackDown is Friday. Maybe they're saving some stuff for that. I don't know. Maybe they're saving some of the NXT call-ups for that. I don't know. Maybe they're saving a Randy Orton or a Big E or whoever the hell else they might have brought in. I got no idea. This is kind of chaotic. Huh. Why is that? Well, let's see. So finally, we get to the main event of the show, which was supposed to be Cody, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, with, of course, our favorite wise man, Paul Heyman, on the outside. And Cody's in the ring doing the introduction. He's got his hands up in the air. He's all happy. Crowd's going nuts. And he turns around and Brock Lesnar drops the F5 on him. And then another. And then he beats the shit out of him. And he throws him outside, hits him with a chair. While this is going on, you see Reigns, Sikoa, and Paul Heyman have that, what the hell look on their face. They got out. They walked away. WWE officials are out there trying to get Brock Lesnar away from Cody. And that's like putting a rock in front of a flood. It just doesn't help things. So Brock Lesnar beat Cody up. Okay. All right. So that got me thinking a couple things. Number one, what the hell happened tonight? Number two, this is classic long-term storytelling, which most fans don't particularly like. What do we like these days? We want instant gratification. This ain't going to happen in this case. If Cody Rhodes is going to be a major player in the WWE going forward in the time of Roman Reigns, it's obvious he's going to have to go prove himself by defeating Brock Lesnar first. Is that going to happen? How is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? I don't have any freaking idea. There's no telling. Brock Lesnar usually doesn't show up at B-level pay-per-view shows. You got the next big one is Money in the Bank, and then SummerSlam's after that. I can see those two going at it there. That's not a good matchup for Cody. They need to build him up. He was believable against Roman, but keep in mind it took Roman years to be believable against Brock Lesnar. So how is that going to go down? I got no clue. But I wouldn't mind at this point, if you're going to keep the title on Roman for his 1,000 days, which would be in another 2 months, hell, you might as well run it back next year and have these guys do it again, if that's your plan. No issue from me with that. We'll see what happens. That's the ultimate long-term storytelling with the incredible payoff at the end. At this point, Cody looks like he's going to have to prove himself over and over again to get that shot. So, with all that, this was classic Vince McMahon last 10 years creative booking. Last second changes, taking people off that should have been on the card, cutting other things short. Vince McMahon started this. He brought the business globally, and he's always going to be associated with WWE. But ever since Triple H took over creative, it's been, as a fan, more fun. This stuff is supposed to be fun. Hey, I don't give you crap for watching Game of Thrones or whatever. So you don't give me crap for watching WWE. It's the same stuff. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to be critical about it. You're supposed to bring in your circle of friends who feel the same way as you do about this stuff, and you try to figure out just what the bloody hell is going to happen next. And I don't know what the bloody hell is going to happen next with WWE. It just seems like Vince McMahon was back there pulling the strings. Could this have been a one-time thing because it was the Raw after WrestleMania and because they had just merged with the Endeavor Company and UFC? And I know the McMahon family made an awful lot of money yesterday, although I think they're being investigated for their business practices. Go figure, huh? So we'll see, if Friday night SmackDown comes out and it's a good show, and seems like Monday night was an anomaly, hey, it's cool. But if it comes out and it's chaotic and you see squash matches and things that don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, then that might be Vince McMahon's fingerprints all over it. So I was always a fan of Vince. Going back in the day, he was a great heel in the Stone Cold era with the feud that they had, and he put the business on the map. And heck, even going back way back in the day to things like Tuesday Night Titans and his time at the commentating table with Jesse the Body, with Gorilla Monsoon, with Bobby Heenan, JR, great JR. These days, I don't know. This just wasn't any fun last night. That hurts my fragile heart. Okay. So with all that, it seemed like we had a great 2-night WrestleMania. We had totally what Chris Jericho called red reels, which means total shit Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. So anyway, that's my show for the night. I had the Jaws on Sports special for the WrestleMania recap. And I might do these quarterly for the big shows, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, just to see how it goes. Zach is not a fan. Again, he's on assignment in the Caribbean someplace, but he should be back tomorrow. We're going to just have our final words on the basketball tournament. I'm going to talk a little bit about UFC 287 this weekend, and maybe even a little bit about the Masters Golf Tournament. So I hope you folks have a good night. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Go check out Blizzard at Dairy Queen. It's freaking awesome. Have a good evening.